Hello and welcome to the Reset and Rise webinar Masterclass. I am so excited that you're here. My name is Stephanie Thibodeau. I am the founder, CEO, and Essential Soul Coach in Essential Soul Coaching. I want to welcome you to this masterclass and thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come check this out because what I'm going to share with you today is really important and I have had so much success with this strategy. I have coached hundreds of clients through this model, then they have gotten amazing results. My clients have lost weight. My clients have found inner peace. My clients have gained the confidence that they wish they'd had years ago. And they've even reversed diseases like fatty liver. So I am excited to share this with you. So come on in, take a seat, grab a pen, grab some water, and let's dive in, okay? Now, for those of you that are here live, you are going to get a copy of this 7-day reset journal. Here's what's important about that. It's going to be in your email and you're going to get it in just a little while after the live has ended. But I want to give you a heads up and let you know that this journal is going to help you take action because one of the biggest things I want you to walk away with today is taking action on this information. Okay. That is important. I'm going to teach you some strategies and I want you to pick one or two things that feel really easy that you can implement strategy on right now. Implementation is what drives momentum. Once I teach you the three-step process, it's going to make all the sense in the world. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what you're going to learn today. I've got some notes. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes. So if I'm not looking at you, that's totally fine. So here's what I plan to teach. I plan to teach you how to reclaim your why. This helps you connect really deeply to what you really want and use that to drive your momentum. We're also going to break the guilt cycle. The three biggest emotions that my clients struggle with are guilt, shame, and regret. And if you think about those as rocks, they are the biggest, heaviest rocks in the garden. And if you're walking around carrying them, they are really keeping you stuck. So I'm going to show you ways to break that guilt cycle and replace it with healthier coping strategies that are going to help you gain more progress. And the last thing we're going to do is shift into sustainable habits. You're going to create small, lasting change that supports your weight loss, that helps you build self-trust, and it doesn't require willpower or restriction. I think it's really important that you know that because one of the things that diets do is they really rely on your willpower and restriction in order for you to get results. So, that being said, let's do a few housekeeping items. I really want you to come to me with an open mind, an open heart, maybe an open notebook. But I want you to think about what you're going to do today and commit to the action. Not the outcome, but commit to taking action today on one or two things that you hear that you're willing to do over and over again and give it 30 days. Because I can guarantee you that if you put in the work, you're going to get the results. My clients have done it over and over again. And so I know it works. I know this strategy is going to work for you too. So I'm excited to share this, but I think it's really important to understand that in order to see the results, you've got to take action. So during the presentation, if you drop an aha or a question into the chat, I will answer it live on camera. If not, that's quite all right. I totally get it. Not everybody wants to be the one that raises their hand in class. Totally fine. But if you think of a question also later, you can also email it to me. That's not a problem. So if we don't have any other questions before we get started, we're diving on in. So today I'm going to share with you a few things that I believe are super important. And I'm going to teach you a three-step strategy that you can apply to, well, really any area of your life, not just your health and wellness. Because what happens when you apply these tactics, you're creating a new way of thinking. You're actually behaving as the version of you that's already reached your goals. So I want you to take away this three-step process. I want you to take away knowing that just because you've tried other diets in the past, just because they don't work now, doesn't mean you're broken. It might be them. And I also want you to take away that you can commit to action without being committed to the outcome. You can take action, whether it's water or sleep or thinking, you can do it. And if you do it for 30 days, who you become at the end of that 30 days is the version of you that gets it done. She doesn't worry about the messy middle. She isn't worried about what's going to happen 3 weeks from next Tuesday. She's just committed to every day she gets up. This is the one thing I'm focusing on. This is where I'm going to put my energy and I'm going to extract value from it. I'm going to see what works. I'm going to commit to an action. So write it down. Tell yourself, I'm going to pick one thing, maybe two, if you're an overachiever, from this presentation that you're willing to take action on right away. All right, cool. So let's talk about the AIM method. The AIM method is a theory I created about 6 years ago, and I have tested this coaching model across weight loss, across career, financials, relationships, spirituality. It works in every aspect of your life. So once I teach you the model, you'll know how to apply it and you'll be able to use it on a regular basis. And that's okay. I want you to. I've been using it now for over 6 years with amazing results. So let's talk about what AIM stands for. It's alignment, intention, momentum. Alignment is aligning you today with the you that's reached your goals. So I'm going to talk about this in the scope of weight loss because that's where most of my clients come to me from. So let's talk about weight loss. Let's just say you've got 30 pounds to lose and you're struggling with diets. What worked in your 20s is no longer working, and you're struggling to figure out what to do next. You're frustrated, you're aggravated, you're looking in the mirror, and you literally hate what you see. So you start picking apart all of that information, or you start to pick apart all of what you see, and that downloads as information in your brain. So now your brain is looking at your reflection in the mirror and seeing nothing but disgust or disappointment or fear or shame or regret. These things do not put you in a state of mind that make you want to change. This only drives more fear, more shame, and more regret. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to be confident in yourself so that you know exactly what to do to get the results you desire. So alignment is a couple of different things. So first of all, you need to know what your goal is. So if we're talking about weight loss, 30 pounds is the goal. You need to know how you're going to know when you've reached that goal. So if it's a weight loss goal, you've got to have an end weight. If it's a financial goal, maybe you're saving for retirement. Maybe you need money in savings. Maybe you're saving up for an investment. If it's a relationship, what's the relationship look like when you've hit the goal? So you need to be really specific in this stage because if you're not, you don't know how to measure and you can't manage what you don't measure. So you need to have a very specific outcome so that you know when you've reached it. Make sense? Okay, moving on. So now once you've got your goal, you need to decide who you are now and who you need to become to get there. This gets a little sticky for some people. So let me break this down a little more. Who you are today is maybe tired, frustrated, disappointed, upset. Maybe you're angry that you've lost weight and regained it. Maybe you are disappointed that you let yourself gain weight in the first place. We're letting all of that go. I want you to think as if you are already there. I want you to put you in the shoes of the you that's hit your goals. So if it's weight loss, you've lost 30 pounds. You probably wear a different size. You probably feel differently when you look in the mirror. You probably do different habits. Like you have different habits as a person who's lost 30 pounds versus who you are today, or you wouldn't need to lose 30 pounds, right? So think about it in a way that creates a new version of you and then start acting like her today. This is the alignment piece that brings it all together. The version of you that's lost her weight, that gets her promotion, that has the amazing relationships, she acts differently than you do today. But we need to start thinking like her now, because in order to do that, you need to become the version of yourself that lets go of shame, guilt, disappointment, and regret. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to come up short sometimes. That's okay. You are allowed to make mistakes. You're a human being. Mistakes are part of the plan, okay? Know that they're built in. It's how you handle those mistakes that changes the dynamic. So let's just say any diet you've ever tried, right? In the beginning, you're excited, you're motivated, you're going to do whatever it takes because this diet has promised you results. And I'd be willing to bet that you've tried several that you've gotten good results on. But there's one thing that they're missing. It's the follow-up. They tell you what to eat, they tell you what not to eat. Maybe they include exercise, water, sleep. We all know what it takes to lose weight, right? Eat less, work out more. Well, if that were the case, I don't think anybody would have a weight problem. So what's happening is they're only addressing one component, the food piece. So when we talk about weight loss, most of us think, oh, I have to be on a diet to lose weight. Well, maybe. Or I need to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym. Maybe. And the combination of those two things should amplify it, right? Maybe, but not always. If you're dealing with emotional eating, if you're dealing with a dysregulated nervous system, if you're dealing with autoimmune or any other kind of internal concern, your body may not function the way it's designed. So we've got to get rid of the dysregulation first before everything else is going to work. And that means bringing down cortisol, getting enough sleep, hydration, but you've also got to fuel the body. And you've got to start working on the brain because everything the brain creates, the body follows. That's how it works. The brain's in charge. The brain's the boss. That's the communication center. So we've got to start there and rewrite the program. So in order for you to lose the weight, to get the promotion, to do whatever it is, you've got to change the programming. And that's where alignment is that programming. So this is a great prompt. Who am I becoming when I lose the weight? Who am I when I weigh 30 pounds less, 50 pounds less, 100 pounds less? Like, you really need to think about who that version of you is, what she does, and why. The second piece of alignment is the why. So I told you we were going to talk about, you know, reclaiming your why. I need to know why you want to lose weight in the first place. So when my clients first come to me, my very first question is, what can I do to help? What are your goals and why are they important? And then we start peeling back layers like an onion. So most people feel like, oh, I want to be more active, or maybe I just want to feel healthier. I want to be healthier in my skin. Why is that important? Keep asking that question. Every time you answer it, ask it again and keep peeling back those layers because the further you dig, the more you're going to find the why that's going to help you continue on. Because motivation and willpower are not going to be there in 3 weeks. Your why still will be. Your why is going to be there every step of the way. So you've got to anchor in a why, and we call it the why that makes you cry. So if you get to a why and it makes you tear up, 100%, that's the one, right? You may go a couple layers deeper, and that's okay. But once you get to the why that makes you cry, you now have the secret sauce that will keep you going when you get stuck. And there's caveat to this. It needs to be based on you, not anybody else. Your why cannot be contingent on actions of another human being. This needs to be internal. External isn't going to work because people are always going to let you down. So your why needs to be something that you are doing for you and by you. Okay. All right. Now, once you've locked that in, now you're going to start thinking, how do I behave when I've hit my goal? What are some of the new habits I have? And I want you to write these down. And if you don't know, take your best guess. Because here's the thing, the version of you that lost her weight probably isn't staying up late eating chips, watching Netflix. The version of you that stayed up late probably isn't going to the drive-through every single day for lunch. Or the version of you that's lost weight is making a different choice if fast food is involved. She thinks differently, she behaves differently, she shows up differently. How does she behave knowing that you've lost the weight? Do you go to bed sooner? Do you drink more water? Are you more active? And active doesn't necessarily mean being in the gym. It just means maybe you go for a walk every day for 10 minutes. Maybe it means you play with your kids or your grandbabies or walk the dog or go to that yoga class that your bestie's been trying to drag you to for years. Or maybe you actually do join a gym and find out that you actually really love lifting weights because you love feeling strong. Those are the types of things that future thinking creates for you. This is how you drive motivation. Showing up even when you don't want to do the things that are hard because you get results. So the version of you that's lost her weight gets results. So think about what you need, who you need to become in order to get those results. Okay? All right. Part number 2, intention. Here's where the rubber meets the road. This is the most important part, but you can't do this unless you go through alignment first. So you have to figure out who you're becoming in order to become her, right? Seems pretty simple. Intention is all about action. So now that you know what your goal is, you know why, and you know who you have to become, now we get to work on becoming. This is intentional action that you take every single day. You may or may not have seen the 30-day Essentials Planner. This planner is designed to take you through a 30-day guided journey. It's not a journal, okay? It's a planner, but it helps you make intention and action simple by creating the 3 steps. So every day you write out a plan or you take action to decide how you're showing up today. What does your schedule look like? Like, do you even know what your schedule is? Where do you have control? Because taking action means you're in control. So when you have control over a situation, you know how to show up to it. It may not go perfect. You may need to pivot, and that's okay. But when you make plans, you don't have to flash think in the moment to try to come up with a strategy. You're like, nope, my plan was this. How can I pivot to make the plan still work for me? And if that's absolutely impossible, what is my next best step? Because when you show up as an empowered version of yourself, you're always thinking about what is the version of me who gets this? What would she do? How does she show up in this moment? So you've got to take action based on who you are today, who you're becoming, and what gets you there faster. So if you were taking a trip from New York to California, you could get on a plane and be there in a few hours, right? Might take 2 planes. Or you could get on a train and probably be there in a day. You could also take a bus. That might be 3 days. Or you could get yourself in your car. That might take 4 or 5 days. You're probably not going to jump on a bicycle because that would probably take weeks. How fast do you want to get there? You pick the mode of transportation that gets you there the quickest. And the mode of transportation that creates intention is action, is thinking ahead to what your day looks like, your week, your month, knowing where you have spaces that you can make these plans and deciding ahead of time how you show up. When you know you've got back-to-back meetings at work, then maybe you make a plan to have food ready when you can eat instead of trying to get there and be like, oh my God, it's 2 o'clock. I've not put a bite of food in my mouth and now I'm hangry and I've got a splitting headache and I'm dehydrated because I haven't had any water. Instead, planning ahead to make sure maybe you get a smoothie or a protein bar at your desk, or having some snacks that are going to get you through the day instead of struggling to figure out when you're going to fit food into your schedule. You work your schedule around you, not the other way around. And this might be tough for some because some of you have been trying to wedge yourself into a box for years and you can't understand why it doesn't work because you weren't designed to fit in a box. That's why. But when you show up on purpose with intention and you tell yourself, great, I'm giving myself every opportunity to be successful, not fail. It isn't going to work perfectly. We're not looking for perfect. We want progress. So, progress over perfection, my friends. Progress is so much more important than perfection. Like I said, commit to the action, not the outcome. Not everything is going to go perfectly. We don't need it to go perfectly. But the more you show up, the more you practice, the better you get. And every time you take action, you assess. So the second part of intention is the assessment. So in the Essential Planner, you actually have an assessment page that lets you look at the day, the week, and go, okay, what worked? What went really well for me this week? And the reason we start with that is because your brain is hardwired to go for worst case scenario. It's always looking for the problem. But when you start off with, oh my gosh, this went really well. I packed my lunch 3 days this week, and I didn't have to figure out where I was going to try to get food in between my meetings. My food was there. I was able to eat and get on with my day. And I didn't feel so sluggish at 3 o'clock, and I didn't need that second cup of coffee. Like that might have even helped sleep later that night. So we create momentum, which is the third piece, but we'll get to that in a minute. But by creating this intentional plan, you're giving yourself a roadmap that helps you with direction. And when you've got a map, you can reroute, right? Our GPS, driving down the highway, what happens? Road's closed. We have to reroute. We pivot. We recalculate and we keep going. We don't drive the car off a cliff and go, well, sorry, no luck. Road's closed. Gotta go home. No, we reroute, we pivot, we make changes, and then we assess. It might mean taking a step back and looking at what you're doing and deciding, okay, do I still want to do this or no? That's your choice. Next, you're going to decide, am I going to do this again? And how can I implement this in a way that's going to give me even more support? And assess it again. And look at what did work and look at what didn't work. And look at what didn't work a little bit harder. The stuff that works, great, do it again. Double down on that. I really want you to focus on what didn't go so well. And here's why. Not because I want you to see yourself as a failure. That is not it at all. But I want you to know that you have the power to assess it and come up with a new plan. Because by assessing it, you might be like, oh, you know what? On these days, I need to do this. So I want you to assess your plans because this is going to make a huge difference in how you show up the next time. So we have alignment. We have decided we know who we are today. We know who we've got to become. We show up with intention and we take action on purpose. And we assess that action. And then we start making new plans with the assessments in mind. And we keep tweaking and trying and assessing. And we get better at it and better at it and better at it. And that, my friends, creates momentum. Those are those quick wins. So when I told you that I wanted you to pick something that you could double down on for the next 30 days, this is the end result. This is the momentum that you've learned. So let's take water, for instance, because this is an easy one for most people. Get your water bottle. Okay. What if you committed to one extra glass of water every single day for 30 days? And when I tell you this has got to be easy, right? A glass of water. I'm not talking that big old thing. A glass of water, 8 ounces, 16 if you're an overachiever. If you could drink one extra glass of water every single day, you would improve your body's digestion. You would give your hair and nails and skin a little boost of hydration. Hydrated is a good look. It's that glowy skin that we all want. You're also going to give yourself a little extra brain power. Our brains dehydrate quickly, and about 75% of people walking around are dehydrated. So most of us aren't even getting the baseline water that we need during the day. Now, for weight loss, this is a game changer because if you're drinking enough water, your body is hydrated, it's not sending up faux hunger cues for you to eat because it needs to get a little water. Because the first signs of hunger and thirst are exactly the same in your body. That may or may not have blown your mind. Thirst and hunger show up as the same signal in the beginning. By the time you actually it's like really loud, your body's probably just craving food because it needs water. Because if you're not drinking enough water during the day, you'll get water from food. So the body will just send up hunger signals going, well, she isn't going to drink any water. Maybe she'll eat something. We'll get some water that way. So if you could commit to drinking one extra glass of water every day for 30 days, just imagine it's a simple thing you can do. You can do all the coffee brews. You can do it while you're putting your makeup on. You can do it while you're in the car on the way to work, or you can just do it while you're waiting for food to heat up in the microwave. Just pick something simple and track that action. When you get to the end of the month, you're going to see the momentum. Sometimes people need more sleep. That's also a key to weight loss. Water and sleep are the two things people never think about when it comes to weight loss. So, what if the ideal you gets 8 hours of sleep every night and she is actively working on getting to bed just 5 minutes earlier each night? What if instead of doom scrolling until God knows when, what if you just decided to put your phone on Do Not Disturb and go to bed 5 minutes earlier every day for 30 days? There's an old adage, and I don't know who said this, but it said if you need 8 hours of sleep, you need to spend 9 hours in bed. It all counts, but when you start creating habits around these routines, you now are telling your brain that you're creating new programming. We're wiping out old programming and we're creating new programming. So, this is the piece that I absolutely love. You don't have to commit to something big to get results. 5 minutes in bed earlier, one extra glass of water. I'm not asking you to give up anything, but I am asking you to double down on taking action on something for 30 days so that you can see results. When you get the momentum, this is what drives the next part. You're going to do it all over again. Each time you celebrate a win, this taps into the dopamine centers of your brain. So those feel-good hormones, those reward hormones are going to be like, oh my gosh, I did these things. And at the end of the month, I'm down 5 pounds. Most of my clients don't change what they're eating in the beginning, and they already see results in 30 days. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a little over a pound a week. And depending on how much weight you have to lose, it could be more. But most average adults are losing about a pound a week because we're not bullshit eating. We're not stressing ourselves out. We're not staying up all night doom scrolling. We're not giving our brains more than it can handle. We're just dialing it down a little bit. Bring the volume down, make it easy. Very simple, and just track your behavior. Now, I've become a data junkie because I know when I have data, I can go back and see what was working and what wasn't. So keep talking about the planner. The planner is available if you go to my Instagram and just tap on the link in my bio, it's there. It's $20. It's a PDF downloadable version. You get it once and you can use it over and over and over again. So if that's helpful, or even just a notebook, you could grab a piece of paper or put it in the notes app on your phone. What am I going to do today? Pick something you're going to do and then double down on it for the next 30 days. We're not waiting till Monday. We're not starting over next month. We're not waiting till January. We're taking action right now. Because when you start to take action right now, your brain doesn't freak out about it. You're just doing it. And then you assess the results. So you create alignment, You decide who you're going to be, who you are today versus who you're going to be when you've lost the weight. And what kind of action does she take every single day? Does she get up on time when the alarm goes off? Does she pack lunch the night before so it's ready to go when she's rushed in the morning? Does she eat in between meetings so she doesn't have to worry about getting food? Does she walk the dog for an extra 10 minutes after dinner because makes her digestion speed up a little bit and feel a little bit better? Does she go to bed 5 minutes earlier and get a little extra sleep? 5 minutes a day times 30 days. It's 150 minutes. That's a lot. That is a lot of sleep. It compounds itself. The compounding effect means that every time you do it, you're getting a little bit more and a little bit more, and it gets a little easier too. So if you got an extra 150 minutes of sleep, or what's 240 extra ounces of water, or you picked one thing and did it for 30 days. The version of you that shows up for herself now has proof. Now you have tangible proof that you can look at in the data that shows you, oh, maybe this wasn't so hard after all. Maybe this wasn't the struggle that I thought it was going to be, and I could do that again. Now you've created momentum because now your brain has proof that you can do one small thing and get results. And if it shows up on the scale or if it shows up in your finances, in your relationships, here's the best part. It shows up everywhere because the version of you that loses your weight starts to love her body again. The version of you that loves herself to start with changes everything. When you start from a place of self-compassion and love, you're going to get more done. You are never going to hate yourself down the scale. You're not going to stand in the mirror and look at that girl and hate her and expect her to change. You've got to look at that girl as a 13-year-old or 15-year-old or an 18-year-old and tell her you are not broken. You just need extra support, and I'm going to give it to you because I know how to do that. Whatever age this started, she did it because either generationally, she didn't have good role models. Some of us did not grow up with the best expectations. Our parents might not have been able to model what we needed. Some of us, the women in our life, were so hyper focused on what you looked like instead of how you felt. When that's the case, you don't always have a good self-image, and you can change that. You can start to unwind that. And then diet mentality, don't even get me started. Diet mentality, that the social nuances of it have told us that if we are not a specific size, then we're not socially acceptable. That's bullshit. And we've seen it more recently, more size inclusions. But here's the thing. I don't care what size you are. It doesn't matter. You need to be able to look at the girl in the mirror and love her. And you may decide that you're happier at a bigger weight than you might have considered in the beginning. But I want you to be okay with just making small changes and then living in the wins. Because every time you live in the win, you're giving your brain even more proof that you can do it. So, just to recap, alignment, showing up as the you today, becoming the you of tomorrow, and acting like that now. Future thinking about the version of you that's hit your goal and starting those behaviors today. Showing up with intention and taking action on purpose. The future version of you has action steps. Doing them today gets you there faster. That is that jet plane that is going to accelerate your results. And 3 is the momentum. The momentum you get from seeing the quick wins and giving yourself proof that it was simple and you can do it again. When you put these 3 components into place and take action, your results are guaranteed. You're going to put in the action, you're going to get the results back. And then you analyze the results. Okay, I did these things. This was my outcome. If I just did that again, I can expect my outcome to be the same. Where can I level up 1%? If you leveled up 1%, guess what? Your returns come back to you. And if you do that every day for 30 days, you've leveled up 30 times, even just by showing up and not going above and beyond the one goal. You're compounding your effect. It gives you more for your return. Your return on investment skyrockets. I've been working with a business coach for the last week and a half, and it's all about return on investment. So this class is free, but I want you to get a return because you've invested time, and time is precious. We are never getting any more time back. Money can be made. Money is a renewable resource. Time is not. The only thing we get a not infinite number of, I can't even think of the word now, is time. Our time is only so much. So you've got to make the best use of it. So the return on investment when you put time into yourself skyrockets. And I want you to extract that value because every time you do, you give yourself more proof that it's working. Okay. So, couple of things. I would love to invite you to a reset and rise clarity call. As someone who has subscribed to this and showing up, you are going to get the 7-day reset journal. And I'm going to throw in a free 30-minute clarity call. If you want to see what this could look like for your specific goals and how to create the alignment, intention, and momentum for you, schedule a call. We will do a deep dive, and this will be completely private, but you will find out exactly what you can do now, what steps to take to hit your goals. And then if you're interested in learning more about me, you can go to essentialsoulcoaching.com. You can grab a link there to the planner. I've talked a lot about the planner. You can get the book, Healthy Habits in the Home, that I co-authored with 8 other authors. You can also check out and see what else is going on in my world. So thank you so much for your time and attention this evening. I hope you have a great night, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.